Today is Monday, November 10th. What to know about a bill that could finally end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Also, a winter storm that's brought life-threatening conditions to parts of the U.S. And a serious outbreak that could be linked to baby formula. Plus, backlash over a group of teachers' Halloween costumes. Another alleged betting scheme, this time involving Major League Baseball players. And the two artists who secured the most Grammy nominations. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Senators have finally reached an agreement that could end the government shutdown. A group of Democrats joined Republicans to come up with the deal. It funds the government through the end of January, fully pays for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, aka SNAP, and reverses layoffs of federal workers that started when the shutdown began. It also makes sure all federal workers receive back pay for the time they weren't paid during the shutdown and reimburses states that spent any of their own money to keep federal programs running. But in a major concession by Democrats, it does not address the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies they've been demanding for the last 6 weeks, though they've said they'll tackle that in a vote next month. The Senate took a test vote on the measure yesterday, and it ended up getting 60 yes votes and 40 no's, meaning the Senate has just enough to overcome the filibuster since 8 Dems joined almost all Republicans by voting in favor of it, despite the Democratic leadership being against it. Still, the Senate needs to amend it, and any one senator could delay that process for several days. Once it's out of the Senate, it still needs to pass the House and get President Trump's signature before it becomes law and the shutdown can end. Even if it does clear all the necessary hurdles, this process is expected to take days. In the meantime, U.S. airlines canceled more than 2,000 flights yesterday for the first time since the shutdown began, along with more than 7,000 delays. And ahead of the vote, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said he believed air travel would be, quote, reduced to a trickle before Thanksgiving unless the government reopened. Also, over the weekend, the Supreme Court paused a lower court ruling that told the government to fully fund food aid. So the Trump administration told states to undo any steps they took to issue full benefits. And said if any states do send full payments to SNAP recipients, they'd likely end up having to cover the cost themselves and could face more financial penalties. An organic baby formula is being recalled nationwide in response to a botulism outbreak impacting infants across 10 states. At least 13 children have had to be hospitalized after drinking whole nutrition infant formula from ByHeart. Infant botulism can be very serious and even deadly, but thankfully, as of this morning, no deaths have been connected to this outbreak. People who bought the recalled formula are being told to record the lot number, then throw it out or return it. And if any baby who drank the formula also has had any kind of symptoms, like poor feeding or difficulty swallowing, they'll need medical attention right away. Botulism symptoms can take weeks to develop, but there is a medicine that can help treat it. ByHeart responded to the recall to argue that the can of formula that tested positive for bacteria had already been opened, so it's possible the bacteria could have gotten into the can some other way. Still, it agreed to the recall out of precaution. Meanwhile, the FDA is still testing formula. For more information, like specific lot numbers, we've added links to the recall in today's episode notes on our website. Large swaths of the U.S. are now dealing with one of the season's first winter storms. Already, snow has been falling in the northern plains, Great Lakes, and parts of the Midwest, like Chicago. The National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning today for communities around Lake Michigan, predicting as much as 18 inches of quickly falling snow, along with thunder snow. Road conditions in northeastern Illinois are considered dangerous to impossible. People are also discouraged from driving in parts of Michigan, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Cold weather warnings were issued for Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. And this morning, people are dealing with freezing temperatures even in the South, from Texas and Oklahoma to Alabama and Georgia. The worst of the winter weather conditions are expected to taper off by tomorrow. Today, negotiators from nearly 200 countries are coming together to tackle one of the world's most pressing issues, climate change. They're attending the annual United Nations Climate Conference called COP30. COP, C-O-P, stands for Conference of the Parties. And this is the 30th year the United Nations has put it together. This year, the summit is supposed to focus on actually putting goals to slow global warming into motion. And some of the biggest fights of the summit are expected to happen today as countries hash out which items should get formal spots on the conference agenda. The new Trump administration is also expected to loom over these negotiations since the U.S. under President Trump is pulling out of the Paris Agreement on climate change. But the White House says the U.S. won't be sending any high-level representatives to this conference. And it's not clear whether there will be any lower-level American representatives there either, meaning this could be the first year the U.S. officially skips it. COP30 runs for the next 2 weeks. More news still ahead, but first, this episode is brought to you by Skims. I really care about the quality of my sleep these days, and what I wear to bed, aka how comfortable I am, makes a big difference. I've tried a lot of pajamas over the years, and the Skims sleep set meets all of my requirements. My favorite part about this set is that the fabric is unbelievably soft. I already loved the Soft Lounge PJ set from Skims last year, and I still wear that, but the Skims sleep set is somehow even softer. Plus, who doesn't love a cute matching set? It's so cozy, and it gives my nighttime routine this extra little touch of joy and feeling good. In fact, this most recent pair of pajamas I got has a fun holiday print, so it's already making this time of year feel festive and special. Shop my favorite pajamas at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you, select podcast in the survey, and be sure to select our show, The Newsworthy, in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for anyone on your list, the Skims Holiday Shop is now open at skims.com. Now, back to the news. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. The annual federal holiday celebrates the bravery and sacrifice of all those who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. There will be parades, ceremonies, and other special events to celebrate. Most federal and local government offices, including the U.S. Postal Service, will be closed. Most banks are also closed, as well as some other workplaces and schools, but most stores and restaurants will stay open. In fact, restaurants like Applebee's, Red Lobster, Chili's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Outback Steakhouse, and many more are giving military service members and veterans certain free meals today. Vets can also get a free haircut at Great Clips or Sports Clips, discounts at stores like Target, and free admission at Six Flags. To any service members, veterans, or military family members listening, thank you for your service. Syria's new president is in Washington, D.C. for the first time since taking power, and today he has a White House meeting scheduled with President Trump. While he's there, officials are hoping he signs an agreement in a global coalition to defeat ISIS. He'll also be talking to Trump about Syria's reconstruction after nearly 14 years of civil war. It's actually quite a turnaround since, until recently, he was wanted by the U.S. as a terrorist with a $10 million bounty on his head. That bounty was dropped last year, and the terrorist designation went away over the summer after he led a rebel offensive to end the Syrian dictatorship. Separately, President Trump recently met with Hungary's prime minister at the White House. And while he was there, Trump granted Hungary a 1-year exemption from American sanctions for using Russian oil and gas, since Hungary relies so heavily on it. Hungary also committed to buying liquefied natural gas from the U.S., with contracts valued at about $600 million. A group of Arizona math teachers found themselves in the middle of a nationwide scandal all over their Halloween costumes. They wore matching T-shirts they bought on Amazon last year that read, "Problem solved," with red blotches on the left side. Shortly after, right-wing influencers circulated a picture of them, accusing them of mocking conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination, since Kirk was wearing a white shirt when he was killed and was shot on his left side. Some prominent Republican politicians also shared the image, portraying it as the glorification of political violence. Well, over the last week, the high school and its staff received thousands of hateful messages, including dozens of death threats. And it got so many obscene phone calls, administrators had to disconnect the phones. Teachers stayed home, but their phone numbers and addresses were shared online. Sheriff's deputies stepped up patrols on campus, and students and parents asked if school was still safe. But the district insists it was all a misunderstanding. From the beginning, the teacher said the shirt was a joke, meant to mean the math teachers were slaying math problems in the spirit of zombies. At least 3 of the teachers say they were actually fans of Kirk, but some commentators say they won't accept that explanation, and the threats have continued. As for the shirts, they're still available to buy on Amazon. 2 pitchers from the Cleveland Guardians are now the latest athletes facing criminal charges for a betting scheme. We're talking about starter Luis Ortiz and closer Emmanuel Clase. Ortiz has already been arrested, but as of this morning, Clase is not in custody, and he's actually accused of being more heavily involved in this scheme. The Justice Department says Clase has been taking part since 2023 and benefited bettors by $700,000. Prosecutors say he even texted bettors during games, whereas they say Ortiz got involved this past summer and helped bettors win at least $60,000. They're both facing the same charges of fraud, conspiracy, and bribery, since the DOJ says both players agreed with bettors to throw specific types of pitches and spoke about the speed of their pitches. Those bettors then apparently used that inside information to make money. And in some cases, the players are accused of getting bribes and kickbacks in return for rigging pitches. Ortiz says none of it is true and that he would never improperly influence a game for anyone or anything. So far, no comment from Clase, his agent, or his lawyer. If they're convicted, the pitchers could face up to 65 years in prison. The 2026 Grammy nominations are out, and for the second year in a row, rapper Kendrick Lamar has the most nods. He's been nominated for 9 Grammys this year, including the coveted Album of the Year. Another top nominee is Lady Gaga, who's also in the running for Album of the Year, and 6 others. Other big nominees include Sabrina Carpenter, Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, and Leon Thomas. By the way, since there was some chatter online about it, Taylor Swift's new album was released after the eligibility window had closed. The 68th Annual Grammy Awards are happening in February in Los Angeles. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor. This time of year, my skin always needs a little extra care. Between some colder weather and the rush of the holidays, it's easy for skin to start to feel dry and stressed. That's why I've been sticking with OneSkin. I love their face moisturizer, and I have for a long time, and now I'm genuinely loving their brand new peptide lip mask. A good lip mask is surprisingly hard to find. I've been looking for one for a while, and this one is incredible. It's smooth and it's instantly comforting. It even comes with a little metal applicator that makes it feel even more lovely to put on. At the core of OneSkin is their patented OS1 peptide, targeting the root cause of wrinkles and loss of elasticity. OneSkin also just launched their limited edition holiday sets, including the Nightly Rewind gift set, which adds the perfect touch of luxury to your gift list. It features that best-selling face moisturizer, plus that brand new peptide lip mask that is my new favorite product of theirs, and even a sculpting gua sha tool. Each element is designed to work together as your body enters its natural nightly repair mode. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin for 15% off using the code NEWSWORTHY at oneskin.co/newsworthy. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Again, get 15% off using the code NEWSWORTHY at oneskin.co/newsworthy. Now, back to Money Monday. So many stores, restaurants, and gas stations around the country are now having trouble making exact change. The issue is the U.S. Mint stopped making pennies. Remember, President Trump ordered this change as a way to remove waste from the budget, since just last year, each penny cost about 3.7 cents to make. Roughly 250 billion pennies are still out there, but the American Bankers Association says the issue isn't the supply, it's the circulation, since many coins are just collecting dust in jars, piggy banks, and couch cushions. So now some businesses are getting proactive. For example, Kroger and Home Depot stores in parts of the country are asking shoppers who pay cash to only pay with exact change, whereas Quick Trip and Love's are rounding cash totals in the customer's favor. But in several states like California, New York, and Illinois, there are consumer protection laws that say retailers have to provide exact change and are not allowed to round to the nearest nickel. So there's a lot of legal uncertainty, and many trade groups are now asking the federal government for guidance. Thank you so much for joining us today. Note that we will not have a new episode out tomorrow due to the federal holiday, but we'll catch you up on all the news you may have missed on Wednesday. For now, have a great day.